good afternoon to the Honorable Chief Guest and Speaker of the Day, Director of MCA, faculties, and research scholars. I cordially welcome you all to the Day 5 of Faculty Development Program. I extend my warm welcome to each one of you present here. Now I welcome Dr. V. Vasanti, Assistant Professor, Department of MCA, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, all. Believe you can, and you are halfway there. With this inspirational quote, I delighted to welcome the gathering for today's fifth day FTP program to embark on the journey of learning and growth. First of all, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Samuel Tensing, Professor, University of Sydney, Australia. And then I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. A. Ponnasamy sir, in this all occasions and guidance towards us. And I extend warm welcome to our director sir, Dr. A.V. Sendil Kumar, Department of Computer Application, the person who is a real source of inspiration and dynamics. I'm in need to pleasure to welcome all the participants from various department and various college and research scholars too. So for this occasion, I welcome you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call Dr. A. Prakash, Professor, Department of MCA, to introduce our eminent speaker of the day.
Good afternoon, one and all. Today, our resource person, Mr. Samuel Dinsing, is an associate lecturer at the University of Sydney School of Biomedical Engineering. Post 13 years experience in integrated circuit design and esteemed firm like Avago, Broadcom, and ST Microelectronics. His expertise lies in RTL GDS implementation, yielding numerous successful ASIC designs. Holding an MBA from Aglia Ruskin University, he possesses a master in IC design from Nanyang Technological University and the Technical University of Munich, along with the bachelor electronic and communication from Anna University. As a senior IEEE member, he is active across 30 international technical societies. Samuel's achievements span 7 global patent paper reviews, conference sessions, and 100 plus guest lectures on VLSI, IoT, and cybersecurity. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the brief introduction.
Samuel, sir, the session is yours now. You can take over.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And once again, thanks for the opportunity, and very grateful to the institution for giving me this opportunity, the management and HOD principal and all the faculty members, especially the participants who have joined today in this faculty development program. And I hope that this session will be quite useful and hope you have covered different kinds of research methods over the past few days. And I hope that this session will be quite interesting and also useful for your professional career as well as for the students moving forward. I'll be sharing my screen now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so my topic for today is research trends in IoT. So we all know that IoT is a very major topic and a very major term which is going around everywhere, and students are also coming up with lots of IoT projects. Faculty members are coming up with lots of IoT research in IoT, and also different kinds of publications are coming up in IoT as well as security in IoT. So moving forward, I hope that this field will be quite a prominent field, and we will have lots of researchers going on in the field of IoT. So before I move on to the research trends in IoT. I would like to actually give you a brief idea about what is research and what are the types of research, how can you approach research and moving forward. So when you talk about research, the definition of research is actually it is a systematic investigation into and study of materials resources. So what is quite different from a person working in an industry and a person into the academic field? The academic person is more into the systematic investigation into the field, and he comes up with different ideas, and also different experiments are being done in research. Whereas in the industry, we don't mainly focus on experiments, we only focus on getting out the product and moving forward. But here it is more of experiments and research. And when you start a research, you may focus on one part of it, or you may focus on one particular topic, but moving forward during your research you may come up with different kinds of results. So this is the idea of research. And according to Redman and Mori, research is a systematic effort to gain new knowledge, because by research we also gain new knowledge. So that is why always our research is for a long period of time. We can see that the normal coursework or the other studies of like 1 to 2 years, but research, it goes on for a period of time, because you need time for this systematic study. So this is the idea of research. And what is the main focus of research? To get a doctoral degree and to face new challenges in solving unsolved problems. So that is what we always look forward in research. So even today, when I go through these slides, we will always look forward for the challenges, and what are the challenges we have in IoT, and how do we fix it, and how do we find a solution for these kinds of unsolved problems. So as a researcher, we will always look forward towards unsolved problems, and we will try to give solutions from our research. So this is the main idea behind research, and it is to get an intellectual joy when you do some creative work than doing a work in a monotonous way. And also you are giving out a service to the society, you are getting a responsibility, and you get respect for the work you do, because it is your work and your innovation, and it is a novel approach towards an unsolved problem. So this is what we have in research. So based on our proposals and our work, we get grants, patents, and so these are the different kinds of benefits we get out of research. Okay, so in research, we actually identify potential new customers, and we also understand the existing customers who are related to our particular field. Like we get to know through publications, we do citations, and we are able to address the business challenges, because always the challenges faced in the industry are being addressed by the academic faculty members in research. So that is how the research and the industry is quite closely related, whereas all the activities in research are being given out, and industry people are working their products, they're working on their actual real-time applications based on our papers and publications. So research actually gives out new business opportunities too. So the first step is choosing a subject. So this is based on your idea, because you may come across lots of faculty development programs, lots of research programs, as well as lots of publications, lots of papers related to your interest. So we all have a field of expertise. So based on it, we will choose a subject based on our idea and on your experience. How good are you in the skill sets required for this approach, and also based on your reading of various papers. And you will come to a conclusion that what is the main core problem which is being faced in the field. So, and your originality on how do you address it. Because all researchers may not be a success, but when you start a research and you work towards it, at the end you will come up with a solution for an unsolved problem. So this is the idea we have behind research. So this research also has a workflow, as how an organization has a working structure. This research also has a workflow. The first one is your observation on your research and interest. Your area of research is to be found out, and also you need to do preliminary data gathering, literature surveys on various papers already published, and then you need to come up with your problem definition. For example, in IoT, we will look into this later in depth, but just for example, in IoT, the main challenge we have is security. Right. So this is quite obviously known to everyone that security is a very major challenge we have in the field of IoT. So this can be your problem definition, and in depth you can also go into different aspects of security in IoT. It can be the network security, or it can be the device security, or it can be even your application security. So we have different kinds of levels of security challenges in IoT. So based on your problem definition, you can go into the depths of this issues. So we will come out with a theoretical framework, and then we go with the hypothesis generation. We do data collection, analysis, interpretation, and also we at the end we check whether our research questions are answered. Have we come up with a solution? Even if the solution is not completely 100% correct, how do we improve it in our future work? So can we publish part of our work in a paper or a journal? So all these are the different steps of the research workflow. Okay, so how do you find out a research problem? So based on lots of papers we read on different topics, or on, in case if it's IoT, if you can take into IoT smart homes. IoT smart homes is even more specialized in IoT. It is even more narrowed down. So you can read through lots of articles on smart home automation, because security is a very big challenge we have right now in smart home automations. So you can go through websites. You can you can also encourage students in your classrooms to have group discussions on these new emerging topics like IoT. You can give a topic like security in IoT, and you can ask a few groups to come up with ideas and discussions and different types of applications of IoT. So based on the students' approach also, you will get some more ideas. And also the students also will get benefited with these kinds of class discussions on the latest technology in trend. And also we can also have discussions with your friends and senior professors and so on. So these are the different kinds of areas and methods how we can approach a research problem. And the research design also includes different features. It is like a plan. You need to specify the sources and types of information relevant to the research problem. A strategy you need to come up with. How will you approach it? And the time and budgets required. So because we need to complete our studies at a certain time and then move forward with our practical approach, because we have a limited time scope for research. And so these are the different constraints. And what are the characteristics of research? We have different characteristics, like one is systematic, logical, empirical, objectivity, replicable, and quality control. So when you talk about the different characteristics, for a complete research, you need to have all these characteristics fulfilled. So your steps in your research should be interrelated. One should be dependent on the other, and it should agree with the principles of the logic. So the conclusions should be based on the evidences you find out and the observations. So everything should have a proper link, and there should be a flow in your research work. So, and your objective should be met, which is to meet your research questions. So is your problem definition answered? Is the it should be your question. So, and the measurement should be quite accurate, and even the units you use in your research paper or your research work should be accurate. We need to go through lots of reviews. So this is a very tedious process, but at the end of the day, you have it is your work and you get benefited by it. You have a very good self-satisfaction when you do a research. Whereas when you complete a course, it is just going through the course materials, writing exams. But this one, it is your work and you come up with the solution. The solution may not be the same as you had planned earlier during the start of your research, but at least you have come to a conclusion, you have come to a solution for a problem, for a problem definition. So this is the achievement you have in the terms of research. And we need to make sure that the data we use is all accurate, and the knowledge is derived from actual observations. So all this is the characteristics, and so we need to, based on our research, the future work should also be quite interesting. And also the if someone cites your research work for their publication, your paper should have that kind of value. So this is all very important in the research. And what are the main objectives of research? So we have many objectives of research. We need to keep it as simple as possible. So when we start a research, we don't have to start it at a very large scale. We take a simple problem definition and work on it. So the more the variables, your research will become more difficult. So we need to keep it as simple as possible and make use of all the opportunities you have to learn more about the problem definition first. Because you have, right now we have different kinds of online resources. Those days researchers didn't have these kinds of facilities. It was only books in the libraries. But right now we have different kinds of paper publications coming up. Almost every day we have different kinds of paper publications coming up all over the world. So we also can get help from your seniors, from your peers and mentors at different stages. And you can also discuss with your senior colleagues on different areas where you are stuck with the research. So, so all these are different kinds of objectives of the research. And what are the purpose of research? So the main purpose is we have the exploratory research, descriptive research, and the explanatory research. So the approach used for this purpose is, it is an unstructured research, whereas this descriptive research is quite, you go based on a structure, and explanatory is even more structured. So we can see that it is done by asking questions, different questions, and also by hypothesis. So these are the different kinds of purpose of research. And when you talk about literature search, we need to see if your idea is original, and you get articles, you read articles and their references, and you also define the objectives of the study. So this is the literature side. And when you talk about research steps, we first choose a subject, and then we go into literature survey on that subject. So the more number of papers we come across, the more number of publications we read on a subject, we will really come to have an idea. So this is the main idea of research, because when you come across different papers, you will get to know more information, and you will really come to a conclusion that this is the problem definition. So almost everyone is working, almost everyone has this kind of problem in the research. So let's work towards it. So you can come to a conclusion, and you can prepare a synopsis. You can think about the required softwares or tools, and also you can come up with your experimental setup, preliminary experiments. You can execute your project. If it is a hardware project, it is fine. If it is a software project, it is okay. So these are the different steps. So because you have a very long time to go through this research, so you can take this step by step and make sure that you achieve it. And data analysis is very important, hypothesis testing and verification, interpretation, and how do you draw conclusions? How do you represent your results through graphs? Because the more number of pictures you have, the more number of visual representations you have, it is easy for researchers and reviewers. So the project writing is also quite important, and all this comes by experience, and also you can refer to various journals, various publications online. So research article is also one major area where you need to focus on. You need to select suitable titles, the affiliations, abstract, highlights. So when you go with the publication, you need to get the instructions to authors, template. So you need to follow the template to come up with your article and your publication. So novelty is very much important in research. So that is why we call it research. So that there should be something new in your research, and the materials methods you use also should be quite updated, because we cannot go back to the old methods or the very old techniques to get a result. So we need to use the latest technologies. So results and discussion, conclusions, acknowledgement, references, everything should be perfect in a research article. And when you write a research report, we need to always follow these steps. We need to make sure that we don't miss anything from the list mentioned here. So it is almost the same in the research report, research article. So I don't want to go into it in depth. So the types of research methods are in different ways. One is quantitative research, qualitative research, and if you see the main difference between the two methods, which is quantitative and qualitative, quantitative is by experimental research, whereas qualitative is by case studies. So you can even when you come up with research articles, you can take up one problem, a real-time problem, and you can come up with you can take it as a case study, and you can do analysis on it, and also you can give out your suggestions. If you have results based on any findings, it is even more good. And in quantitative methods, we have surveys and questionnaires, whereas in qualitative methods, we have ethnography, longitudinal studies, phenomenology, and cross-sectional studies, historical research. So these are the main differences we have in quantitative methods versus qualitative methods. So for IoT, the quantitative methods are more in research, whereas even qualitative approach is very good when you take up issues in terms of different problems faced in the IoT world, and you do a research on it. It gives more value because you're able to relate to that current situation, the real-time situation. So it is easy for you to project your research, because you have found out something for a real-time problem which has happened. So you can take case studies and work on it. So the case study research is you have a qualitative method which involves a deep and thorough investigation, as I mentioned earlier. So these are the pros and cons you have of case study research. And the ethnographic research is where it is actually emerged out of anthropologic research, and the anthropologist would enter a setting for a sustained period of time. So these are the pros and cons. So you can have a look at it, because I don't want to go into the depths of the research, because our main focus is IoT. But before I move into IoT, I wanted to give you some ideas on how you can improve the research moving forward. So this is the phenomenological research, historical research. So you can also check online for different kinds of research and what are the benefits, which research methodology can you use, and so on. And the grounded theory research and content analysis. So these are the different kinds of types of research. Okay, so now moving forward, surveys and questionnaires also are one area where you can try to focus on, because right now IoT applications are almost everywhere. So even in industries, hospitals, schools, so you can do a survey and questionnaire to get information for data for your research. Okay, so now moving on to IoT. So IoT is a very vast topic, and when you look back at IoT, the evolution of IoT is also very interesting, and the digital world is emerging so fast. So before I move into IoT, I just wanted to give you some insight into the digital world and where are we right now. So we live in a digital world where we are almost connected to digital gadgets on a daily basis, and only through this advancement of digital technology, even I could connect with you through this online meet. So this is the advancement we have in the digital world. And as we see that we have lots of new digital technology like IoT, big data, AI, machine learning, deep learning. So all these new technologies are making life easier, and more efficient. So in 2030, we expect to have 125 billion devices connected to the internet. So this is a very big number. And if we see this happening right now, we have lots of consumer electronics in the market. So this is actually a very great change we have in the digital world. And AI is also speeding up the tasks and it makes the workplace more efficient too. So from the business point of view, but there is a scare that mass unemployment may occur due to lots of automations happening. So that is why we have these kinds of workshops, conferences, and faculty development programs, research webinars, panel discussions, so that we share the knowledge. So this is a purely knowledge sharing session, and we can also keep it interactive. We always want these sessions to be interactive so that we all learn from each other. So this is the main idea we have behind this kind of faculty development programs and different conferences, webinars happening right now. Because right now even college students are given the exposure of different new technologies through conferences happening in the universities. So they even publish papers so that they also listen to publishing the paper presentations, and also they have new ideas coming up. So this is the main idea, main focus behind these kinds of digital transformations happening. So if you see that in this digital world, all this is possible with the advancement of electronics and digital technology. So you have laptops, you have different kinds of home appliances, drones, watches, and so on. And if you see this roadmap, it is a very interesting roadmap, started from 1400 till 2050 moving forward. So you can see that initially we had the first digital computer, first portable computers in 1500s, and then moving forward we had smartphones, commercial mobile phones, and then telegraphs, telephones, light bulbs, man on the moon. So you can see that autonomous vehicles coming up. We had microprocessor, word processor, Windows, www, the internet came up. Then we had CDs, DVDs, hybrid cars, one camera phones, Facebook, YouTube, iPads, and whatnot. So we have almost everything right now: smartwatches, smartphones, smart glasses, and so on. So you can see that this roadmap is quite interesting, that we have come a long way, started from printing press in 1400s till where we are right now. Okay, and we talk about IoT in specific. Now let's get into the topic. So when we talk about IoT in depth, the evolution of IoT is very interesting. In 1982, few students who were studying in Carnegie University, US, they actually were working on some project of theirs, and they were quite thirsty. They wanted to check if the Coke vending machine in the university had enough number of Cokes. So it is then they decided to come up with an application, because they found that it was quite tiring for them to walk towards the Coke vending machine. So what they did is they came up with an application, they connected it to internet, and they made sure that the Coke vending machine was connected to internet to check whether the Coke vending machine had enough number of Cokes. So they also installed an application in their mobile phones, and so they had this set up in their university's website. So this was the first invention, the evolution of IoT. The Coke vending machine was connected to the internet. So they installed this application in their university's server, and the students could get benefited by this application. So the Coke vending machine was the first device connected to internet in 1982. But you may also have a question that we have been using internet for a very long time, but only right now we call it IoT, because I'm sure that we had the dial-up connections for more than 20 years ago, but only now we have this term IoT. It is because previously we only had the laptops, the computers connected to the internet, but only right now we have almost everything that is physical getting connected to the internet. So that is why we have the term Internet of Things. And moving forward, in 1990, we had the bread toaster connected to the internet. And in 1993, we had the coffee machine connected to the internet. So you can see that it was all these kinds of small devices getting connected to the internet. But right now we have the whole world. The cities are getting connected to internet. So everything is getting connected to the internet. But you can see that the initial experiments were very small devices, and it may even look very funny that it was a Coke vending machine, a bread toaster, coffee machines, and so on. So that is why always the initial beginnings may be very small, but you can see the end result. It may have a very great impact. So that is how IoT has a very great impact right now. So I'm sure that you must have come across lots of students coming up with very small projects. Their ideas may be very small, but it is your encouragement which gives them the hope that they can achieve well in life. So this evolution of IoT is actually a very great example, and it is even a motivation for each one of us. So then in 1999, we had Kevin Ashton, who coined the term IoT, and in 2008, we had the first IoT conference. So this is how IoT has evolved over a very long time, since 1982. And when you see the architecture of IoT is quite interesting. So this is actually one area where as researchers we can focus on, because you have different kinds of layers in the IoT architecture. You can see that you have perception layers, network layers, processing layers, and application layers. So you have 4 different kinds of layers. And these 4 different kinds of layers are very important. Each layer is very important because first is the perception layer, where you're collecting data through the CCTV cameras, robots, sensors, different kinds of meters, and then it is processed. It is moved through the network layer for routing, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth activation, and also the transmission through towers, and then it is processed. You have web service, data centers, cloud, and so on. So, and then you have application layers. We have smart health, smart manufacturing, smart homes, and smart cities, and so on. So you can see that there are different kinds of layers, and each layer is almost performing a different task, right? So each layer is performing a different task, and each layer has its own challenges. For example, when you talk about the perception layer, which is the first layer, they are all hardware components like cameras, robots, sensors. So are these components working fine? Are these components secure is a question. The next is the network layer. Is your network secure? Because we all know that once we are connected to the internet, the network is not secure at all. So we have lots of challenges in the cyberspace. So the next is the processing layer. So the processing happens in data centers, cloud, and different kinds of AWS servers, right? So are these servers properly synchronized? Are these servers doing the right job? Is any data lost during processing? So if any data is lost during processing, where is this data going to? So all these are different kinds of questions and topics you can explore on for research in IoT. So because each one of us may have different perspectives when we talk about research in IoT, because we may face different kinds of problems, and also we may come across different kinds of problems based on the research, literature survey, so on. And application layer also has a very vast area in terms of research. One is the healthcare industry, manufacturing industry, smart homes, smart grids, because right now there is lots of research happening in the smart grid area, because security is a very big concern. Moving forward, there are lots of cyber wars happening, and the first thing which gets attacked is the smart grid systems in different countries right now, because when the hacker he tries to create an imbalance in the chemicals in the power grid for the smart grid system. When there is an imbalance of chemical levels, there is an explosion happening. So lots of research, lots of faculty members in the AAA department these days are working on research in power grids, smart grid systems. So this is also one major area you can focus on in terms of IoT applications. So we will look into different areas while we go through the slides. Okay, so we have different kinds of sensors in for the IoT sector. So as I mentioned, the perception layer requires all hardware components. So we have different kinds of IoT sensors dedicated just for the IoT operations. So we have temperature sensors, chemical sensors, optical sensors, gas sensors, accelerometers, level sensors, proximity sensors, noise, motion sensors, light sensors, and moisture. So I'm sure that if you have come across projects done by students, they all the IoT projects these days have these different kinds of sensors they use in the IoT projects. And the interesting part is all these sensors are available in the market, so we can purchase them and we can try it out. So these are the different types of sensors we use in the field of IoT for IoT projects. So one is the temperature sensor, which is mainly used to monitor the temperature. So we, in case if you want to monitor the weather conditions or the temperature of the soil, if it's an agricultural project, agricultural research, you can work towards using these types of sensors. And motion control sensors are already installed in universities, offices, to detect people moving in and out of a room, and so on. And also we have the other sensors like the level sensors, proximity sensors. So we have different kinds of sensors for this activity. So fuel gauge displays in the automobiles through level sensors, and proximity sensors to detect the presence or absence of objects. So all these are relating to the sensors. And next we have the chemical sensors, gas sensors, mainly used in the industries for safety purpose. So these are the different kinds of sensors. And we have accelerometers, gyroscope, optical sensors. So these are the different kinds of sensors. So in a nutshell, these are the different sensors we have in IoT, and this is how the sensors look in the market. So you can also purchase these sensors. These sensors are available in the market, and it is being used for different kinds of operations. So this is the IoT sensors on the whole. Okay, now talking about IoT applications. This is a very interesting part where we will be focusing on the different kinds of applications and what are the challenges we have. So these challenges are unsolved problems. And as researchers, as faculty members, we can focus on these kinds of areas in terms of research. So in terms of applications, this is a very interesting slide where you have IoT applications in the consumer industry, the infrastructure industries, security surveillance, which is very important, healthcare industry, retail industry, and transportation, and the other general industrial purposes. So healthcare, transportation, security surveillance, consumer and home are the very important critical areas where IoT is being used. Because retail, if some problem happens in retail, it is not going to fetch us anything. It can maybe it can maybe fetch some loss in the company. But in terms of security surveillance, all this related to a matter of life and death, healthcare, transportation, security surveillance, and consumer and home products. All these four areas are very important areas we need to focus on, because these four areas have major challenges happening right now in terms of transportation. We come across lots of accidents happening through automation. So through IoT connectivity, there are lots of accidents. So there is a threat for life. Security surveillance, mainly the country depends on these kinds of technologies for security and surveillance for the safety of the nation. And also consumer and home electronics, home electronic products, if it is heated up and it blows off, it is a very major problem. We have seen lots of accidents happening in the consumer and home appliances, home applications. And healthcare is a very major sector, because people depend on this technology to have a faster healing process, and also to make communication between doctors and patients quite easier. So these are the different kinds of applications we have for IoT. And in depth, we have smart homes, we have smart door locks, smart bulbs. So security in these areas are very important. Smart cities, water distribution, waste management. In case something happens with the waste management system, the waste management system gets a problem, then it is a very big natural disaster. And energy engagement like grid automation, as I mentioned earlier, wireless grid communication, everything involves lots of different kinds of challenges. And the smart home, smart watches we use, home appliances like refrigerator, coffee makers, air conditioners, everything is becoming automated and getting connected. So there is high chance of in lack of privacy. Agriculture is a very major role we focus on, and there is smart farming, crop monitoring, automotive cars, hybrid cars are coming up. We have engine management systems, automotive, automatic cars, smart manufacturing, transportation, healthcare. So all these sectors are areas where the IoT application is being used. Okay, first let's talk about agriculture. So I'll try to complete my presentation in maybe half an hour to 45 minutes. I won't take much of your time. So the first area I would like to focus on is the agriculture. The area of agriculture, IoT plays a very major role, where we have robots, agri-bots been used for lots of IoT applications in the field of agriculture. So we have weeding robots. Digital image processing is being used for it, which is used to weed out the unwanted crops. And also we have machine navigation where we involve tractors and plowing equipments. So which works on GPS. So it is actually automated, and they use the automatic obstacle detection method to move forward, and also material handling. So it is used to lift heavy materials, and it also helps in plant spacing. So when the machine does the plant spacing, it can optimize the space, because proper space is left for each placement of crop, and also there is reduction in production cost, plant quality. So this is all about the robotics involved in the field of agriculture. And also we have drones right now for continuous farm monitoring, because the only main benefit of IoT is continuous monitoring, remote sensing. It may be for any area. It may be agriculture or different areas, but main use is the continuous farm monitoring, farm surveys, crop health, irrigation, plant counting, yield production. So all these are the main areas the drones are helping on. So with the help of these drones connected with IoT devices, IoT applications in smartphones, the continuous monitoring helps the farmers to come up with ideas on which crop can be cultivated based on weather conditions. If there is any change in weather conditions, an alert is sent to the farmer, so he can decide how to protect the crops and so on. So as I mentioned earlier, remote sensing is very important, and remote sensing is the major benefit of IoT. So we have crop monitoring, weather conditions, soil quality. So in crop monitoring, change in light, humidity, temperatures, everything is being monitored. Farmer is being notified. There is prevention of spread of diseases. So weather conditions are also continuously monitored. So the temperature of the soil is monitored, humidity is monitored, everything is monitored. Weather forecast is taken. So all these are the benefits of IoT in the field of agriculture. So let's look into a small video of how is IoT helping in the field of agriculture. So maybe since we went through different kinds of areas, you can also think about which areas can we focus on for research, because right now lots of importance is being put in India as well as other countries in agriculture to ensure that farmers have these kinds of facilities, technologies to make sure that their productivity is good and they have less effort, manual labor on their side. So this is a very good field to focus on. So let's look into a small video before we move on to the next field.
Extreme weather conditions, climatic changes, and environmental impacts are some of the challenges faced by the agriculture industry in meeting the growing food demands. And IoT has been helping to tackle these challenges. Smart farming is a high-tech, efficient, and sustainable approach to agriculture. This is achieved by applying connected devices and innovative technologies within the agriculture process. From preparing the soil for planting to harvesting mature crops and integrating them with the cloud to provide valuable real-time insight for farmers. The IoT system can detect real-time weather conditions like humidity, rainfall, temperature, and wind conditions very accurately. The data collected help choose the right crops to grow and sustain, and allows farmers to quickly act if weather conditions become unfavorable. Apart from that, IoT applications are also being used for precise farming. Livestock monitoring, vehicle tracking, field observation, and inventory monitoring all enable farmers to analyze information and take informed and quick decisions. Farmers can also analyze soil, water, and nutrient conditions to increase the farming effectiveness and efficiency. IoT applications in the agricultural industry has made farming more efficient, effective, and sustainable, ensuring humankind's growing demand for food are always met.
Okay, so this is all about IoT in the field of agriculture. So now moving forward, we have IoT in the healthcare sector. So IoT plays a very major role in the healthcare sector. As you all know that we have even focused on this during COVID. We had lots of benefits of the automation done in the field of healthcare industry. So when we talk about healthcare, as I mentioned earlier, continuous monitoring is possible with IoT. So we have remote patient monitoring for heart rate, blood pressure, temperature. So the sensors are installed. So the sensors detect low heart rate and the alert is sent to the doctors. So for this purpose, in terms of glucose monitoring, heart rate monitoring, patients, they don't have to be in the hospital. They can be at home, and there is continuous monitoring done by the system. So when there is a disturbance and unbalance in the heart rate or the glucose level, an alert is sent to the doctor. So this is the main areas where the healthcare industry is getting more benefited with IoT technologies. So when the diabetic level is high, alerts are sent to the doctors as well as the patients, and continuous monitoring is possible. Patients can move around and it is very accurate. So these are the main benefits we have of IoT in the healthcare sector. And connected inhalers are also possible. So when people with asthma attacks, we need to collect data from the environment. So when they move into the environment, how is the weather conditions, how is the environment pollution level? So everything is being monitored. So if the pollution level is higher in a particular place, you can prevent from going into that location. And if in case you forget your inhalers, alert is sent to the patients. So all this is possible. Connected contact lenses are currently available from Google, which is patented, and it helps to take pictures with the eyes, robotic surgeries. So we are completely seeing lots of advancement in the healthcare industry. Complex procedures are being done in a simple way by the robots. See, small robots are deployed inside human body, and there is reduction in the size of incisions, so it is less invasive. Robotic surgeries are less invasive, and there is faster healing, so that with the advancement of the IoT surgeries, connected surgeries, patients can go back to their houses very quickly. So they don't have to stay in the hospitals for a very long time because everything is being monitored continuously. So this makes life easier for both the hospital administration as well as the patients. So these are the different kinds of areas where IoT is helping in the healthcare sector. So IoT not only helps the doctors and the medical professionals only in their treatments, but also it helps in the entire hospital administration. So let's look into a small video, which is actually an example, which will give you an overview of how IoT helps in the entire hospital administration, from the start of the patient entering the hospital till the discharge. Everything is being taken care of. Okay, so this was all about IoT in the healthcare sector. So you can see that how beneficial is IoT helping the hospital administration. Okay, so this is IoT in healthcare, and next we will move into IoT in the smart homes. So IoT plays a very major role in the smart home automation, because right now all newly built flats have all these smart home automation happening. We have lightings, kitchen is being fitted with sensors to monitor smokes, temperature, humidity levels, app also to give recipe suggestions, ingredients, nutrition value. And also we have security systems, different kinds of security systems, which is actually working with IoT. So we are able to check on the doors, windows, electrical appliances. There are sensors to lock the house, close the shutters, so you can control the lighting with the apps. So all this is possible, and even we are able to convert the old traditional homes into smart homes with the advancement of technology. So temperature control is possible based on the weather conditions. The internal temperature of the house gets modified. There are apps to increase or decrease temperature, and there are doors and windows. We have security features installed. So there is face recognition, voice recognition possible, and also we can also build up order of a protocol on the various activities to happen automatically. So first the front door opens, and then the lights get switched on, and then the other doors are opening, and then the TV is switched on, then the coffee machine is switched on. So subsequently you don't have to every time do this, because once you train your device, you do the settings, everything is done automatically. So this is the advancement of IoT in the smart home sector. Let's look into a small video of how this happens in smart homes. Okay, so this is how the different kinds of sensors are used in smart home automation. You have the moisture sensors, open close sensors, thermostats, motion sensors. So these are the different kinds of sensors we use for different, each application requires a different sensor. So these are the different areas we cover in smart home automation. And also in smart factories, IoT plays a very major role in the industries. So even the normal factories are getting converted to smart factories. So even you have dots of connectivity in different kinds of industries, different types of industries, and it takes care of the entire automation of the industry, from the logistics to packaging and so on. So let's look at a small video of how a normal factory is being converted into a smart factory with the help of IoT.
This is Sam, and he's the manager at a manufacturing unit. His responsibilities include optimization of supply chain and manage huge data like ERP. Often he faces issue when the machinery stops working or when the system is thrown errors that affect the production. With the current system, Sam is unable to have a track of breakdown incident data in an automated manner. He needs to drive production, modernization, and enable business in an incorporated and data-driven industrial environment. To improve the product quality and customer satisfaction, he needs access to much richer analytics and need an efficient integrated ERP system that spans not only inventory and planning, but also financials, customer relationships, supply chain management, and manufacturing execution. This is where Sterison's IoT solution comes in. Sterison's IoT solution provides real-time monitoring of the product, important key metrics, and production-relevant messages. Our solution enables tracking and tracing of individual products and enables manufacturers to easily replicate their production process and to solve problems in a timely manner, and supports automated reporting and auditing. And to get on, how industrial IoT can be implemented in Sam's business. At first, the purpose-built-in individual sensors will be installed in the plant, like places over the conveyor belt, and measure many sources of data. When the sensor is added to the production unit, it will help to monitor production flow in real time that will benefit time management and saves the unnecessary work. Aside from sensors, the data is captured from the existing PLCs as well and is periodically sent to the cloud for analysis and to help create predictive models. The data is processed and displayed as dashboards on the HMIs, portraying the different calculative parameters like machine utilization, process efficiency, etc. Also, alerts can be integrated to mobile phones or as emails in times of abrupt downtime or malfunctioning of the system. Here is what our IoT system can do for your manufacturing units. Real-time monitoring of the production status, advanced statistics of process data, tracking and tracing of individual products, easy to replicate production process, automate reporting and auditing, automated reporting and auditing, automated machine failure alerts, automated plant temperature monitoring and control, view reports everywhere, removes manual data entry errors and saves time and cost spent on labor, advanced dashboards to complete insights of the manufacturing plant, integrates with any ERP, advanced reports related to machine utilization, machine efficiency, machine reliability, yield, variance sigma level reports, etc. With Sterison's IoT solution, Sam has made his manufacturing plant smart and improves the product quality. No more unplanned maintenances. Sterison's IoT solutions, trusted by 50 plus manufacturing plants. To discuss more, please contact Stereoson Technology. Visit www.stereoson.com. Schedule a demo with Stereoson today to step in next generation of smart factory.
Okay, so now moving forward, we have gone through different kinds of areas where IoT is being used. So now when we look forward to the challenges, because each technology has pros and cons. So each advancement in the digital world has its own benefits and the challenges too. So when we look into the challenges, as I mentioned in the very first slide, security is the main challenge we have in IoT. The IoT security is the backbone of IoT. So data has been stored, data has been processed, but is your data secure is the major question we have, because almost all sectors, all the industries, different fields of industries are using IoT technology. So in some way or the other, their data has to be secure. So lack of encryption is one of the reason hackers can manipulate the security algorithms. So this is the main loophole we create. Lack of sufficient testing, because right now the companies are mainly focusing on production because of the demand. They want to get their products out in the market. So there is increased demand for IoT products where there is lack of testing. Companies are mainly focusing on production, not on the security part. So weak login details is also one in terms of the user problems. So strong authentication is always required for passwords. And with respect to IoT, since we are talking about security, I just wanted to give you a brief information of the cyber attacks happening because of the lack of security in IoT network. So you can see that the motives behind cyber attacks. I'm sure that we hear the term cyber attack, cyber security only in the recent years. Previously, when we were using the wired Ethernet connections, we didn't have this problem of the cyber security because we only had issues with the virus. So we used the Norton antivirus and so on. So that was the only problem. But right now we have lots of issues with terms of internet. So the motives behind cyber attacks are actually alarming, that 41% is contributing to ransomware attacks. So those days people were kidnapping others for money, but what happens right now is they are taking control of their systems, their physical computer systems, and demanding money. So the data is being sold out. So data has this much value. So every single of data is being sold out in the world. And even last year, the AIMS cyber attack at AIMS Delhi was a ransomware attack. So this is a very major threat we have right now. And majority of the cyber attacks happening all over the world is ransomware attacks. And main victims for these kinds of ransomware attacks are educated people, because uneducated people never fall victims of cyber attacks. It is only educated people like you and me are victims of cyber attacks. And very sad to say that many students are falling prey for these kinds of attacks. Lots of cyber bullying is happening, and even students are very scared to tell this information out. So many students are suffering because of these kinds of attacks. So in the workplace, in the educational field, we also need to impart these kinds of security measures for the students. And 27% is insider threats, people sharing information to other friends and so on. 26% is for political reasons. 26% is competition between industries, and 24% is cyber warfare. So there is also a threat that the next 9/11 happened at Twin Towers can also be a cyber attack. So if it is a cyber attack, it is very critical situation, because even we see lots of cyber attacks happening right now, that lots of power grids are being attacked, lots of countries, lots of explosions, chemical explosions are happening. So this can also lead to a cyber lockdown, as we had a COVID lockdown during COVID. When there is a cyber attack happening, the entire country can go into a cyber lockdown. And we have different kinds of types of attacks. One is the APT attack, phishing, DDoS, malware, password attacks, insider attacks. So these are the different kinds of new kinds of attacks happening in the cyberspace. And in depth, we have even more different kinds of new attacks like man-in-the-middle attack, zero-day exploit, DNS tunneling, cryptojacking, the social engineering attacks, DDoS attacks, SQL injection attacks. So even in terms of research, you can focus on the different types of attacks happening in the cyberspace, in the IoT devices, and IoT devices are falling prey for these kinds of attacks. So network security can be one major topic you can explore more on research. So these are the different types of cyber attacks happening. So you can explore more on these kinds of areas. And let's look into a small video on how is security important in the IoT sector.
This is called a smartphone, but it's actually a multi-purpose pocket computer that stays connected at all times and goes with me wherever I go. And with this simple device, I generate an astounding amount of personal information, like pictures and videos, my web browsing habits, GPS locations, financial information, and even health information. Now, here's a question. What happens to all this sensitive data? We all know our data is stored locally on our devices, but did you know they are also recorded onto third-party cloud storage systems where large businesses can learn more about their users? Not only is this unfair, privacy is also jeopardized as cloud systems have been prone to security attacks, and sensitive data leak into the wrong hands every day. And the plot is about to get much thicker. Every day, ordinary household items and appliances like thermostats, refrigerators, alarm clocks, activity trackers, and even light bulbs are being embedded with sensor technology. We are about to enter the age of the Internet of Things, and it is predicted in a few years there will be billions of these devices. In preparation, we at BitCircle have designed the BitBox, a revolutionary product created to put power back into your hands. The BitBox is designed to connect with all your IoT devices and securely collect, backup, and transfer your data within your own network. Every piece of data in the BitBox is encrypted individually and are only accessible to the primary users. Unauthorized parties would have to try to decrypt each piece of data individually, if possible at all. And for data sharing, the BitBox allows you to create your own circles. This can be personal, professional, or even medical circles. Let your physician track your health and activity monitoring devices. Let your friends track the type of music you are purchasing. Set privacy restrictions on your service providers for a change. The possibilities are endless, and you will always be in control. Remember, no institution can protect the privacy of your personal information better than you. The BitBox puts power back into your hands.
Okay, so this is the security required in IoT. And as I mentioned earlier, we have different levels of security in IoT devices. So you have the hardware security, which is the perception layer, the devices involved in the perception layer are the hardware security. Network security, it is your network layer and your data is being processed. So there should be security in the communication channels between devices. There should be proper firewalls established. And also application security is one concern where your software applications and all the applications running in the IoT devices should be secure. So these are the different areas split up for security. One is the hardware security. So the IoT hardware should be tamper-proof. Your CCTV cameras, sensors, the robots used, the network security is one area and application security is a different area. So these are the different areas. And we have 6 principles of IoT cybersecurity across the stack. So first is like device intelligence. First is the hardware security. Your device should be secure. So, and second one is the secure communications being initiated. And third is the secure cloud network. And the fourth is the secure lifestyle management. So these are the different steps we go through in the security principles of our IoT. Next is design challenges. So battery size is one concern because the smaller the products and the best battery life is a challenge we have. So best in smallest and lightweight products is a challenge. So the design should be robust and reliable. So there should be proper security from the initial stage till the deployment, and the cost of the sensors is also rising. So this is also a concern, and IoT has become a luxury product. So you can see the comparison right now. The IoT products, the smart watches, smart glasses, everything is quite expensive than the normal products, right? It is because of the technology being used in it, the sensors used in it, and the advancement of technology is making this IoT a luxury product. So as we are in the teaching industry, teaching field where we impart knowledge to different kinds of students, it is always good if we can encourage our students to come up with projects and also prototypes which is quite cheaper, so that it is affordable by everyone, and it is quite it can cover a wide market. So students should have that mindset when they come up their own startups in future. And even for a research purpose, when we take into products, if you keep our research, if it's involving a hardware, we keep the cost as low as possible, it will reach millions of people, and maybe millions of people will get benefited with this. So pricing has to be controlled within a limit, and also timing of launch is one concern. We need to make sure that all the checks are properly done. Deployment challenges include connectivity. So this is also one major area where you can focus on, because we have lots of research going on 5G connectivity, security in 5G connectivity, and also security in 6G connectivity, the challenges of 6G connectivity and the applications of 6G connectivity. So you can take it up as a research study as well as some of your ideas, because if you're from the computer science background, you will have lots of information on network security, the different communication protocols you use. So you can think of how you can make the connectivity more secure, because without proper connectivity, the IoT devices cannot work, and data storage, collection, everything requires lots of amount of data, and the unlimited internet is being required. Only then you can process large amount of data. So connectivity is one major area where we can focus for research a lot, and data processing through servers. How can you improve the size of the channel, and also the network security, the network layers being used, how efficient can you process the data? So all these are different areas you can think of for research. And also skill set is the major challenge we have in IoT. So but this has nothing to do with the research purpose, but I just wanted to give you the challenge we have in terms of skill set. And talking about the future of IoT looks very promising, because in future the term IoT will be replaced as extended IoT. So in extended IoT, it is an umbrella kind of structure where you have the OT platform, the industrial IoT, the Internet of Medical Things, the building management system, everything under one roof. And you can see that this extended Internet of Things has the OT platform, the IIoT, the IoMT, building management system, and the IoT technology into it. So under this platform, the industrial sector is getting benefited, the healthcare sector is getting benefited, and the commercial sector is also getting benefited. So this is the main idea behind Internet of Things. Moving forward, when we step forward into Industry 5.0, we will have this term extended IoT. So which is a very good umbrella, because all the devices come under one holistic umbrella. And when you look into the future of IoT, it is very good. The total revenue of IoT in 2025 is expected to be $3 trillion. And you can see the exponential growth from 6 billion in 2015 to 25 billion in 2025. So this is the exponential growth we have in the field of IoT. So I'm sure that by the end of this session, you had some insight into IoT and the research methods, research areas available in IoT. But before I finish my presentation, I would like to give you a short insight into this heading that technology does not help us always. I'm not sure how many of you may agree with this, but in some situations we get stuck with the advancement of technology. So let's look into a small video clip of how this person has a problem with the advancement of digital technology.
Play jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, tandleke at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
Så ska vi sätta en till.
Ah. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open. Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey, open door.
Play on the floor.
Get over the door. Open the door.
Wrong voice command. Error.
Hey there. With a rock. Open door. Open door.
Higher volume.
Higher.
Okay, so this is just a gentle reminder for each one of us that technology does not help us always. Even though we live in a digitally transformed world, sometimes even we may think that pen and paper were better than the digital technology we are in right now, and even Nokia 1100 was better than the smartphones we have. So each technology has its advantages, has its challenges. So we should always be very careful in this digital world. So with this, I would like to conclude my presentation. And if you have any doubts on VLSA, AI, robotics, AR, VR, IoT, cybersecurity, you can always connect to me through LinkedIn. And I am sure that this FDP was quite useful. And I'm very grateful to ma'am for inviting me and also the institution. And I'm sure that you have come across different research methods which can be implemented moving forward. So once again, thanks and best wishes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice presentation.
Thank you so much, sir. And if you have any questions, yeah, I'm open to questions.
Okay, sir. Participants, do you have any queries?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I'm Mrs. Ponmail, sir, from Prince. Sir, you explained
Yes,
about the sensor, the IoT sensor you explained.
Yes, ma'am.
Different types of sensor you explained. What about the actuators, sir?
Okay, so we also have the actuators in the IoT devices, but sensors play a very major role because it is actually one of the perception layer, because without sensors, the IoT devices projects will not work. Even when you talk about the home automation, for lighting, you need different kinds of sensors. To detect smoke, you need different kinds of sensors to detect any release of gases. So actuators also are very important, but sensors also play a very major role.
Yes, correct. One more question. Define the infrastructure for supporting IoT deployments, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Can you repeat your question, ma'am?
So in IoT deployment, which infrastructure is supported? I'm asking. Example, in Raspberry Pi, we are doing also IoT devices.
Sorry, actually, your voice is quite breaking and not clear. Maybe can you type your question, ma'am?
Okay.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Okay, so which infrastructure is supporting IoT deployment? Which infrastructure in the sense, I don't get it, ma'am. Which type of infrastructure means like, uh, what do you mean by which infrastructure? It's like we have it almost deployed in different kinds of industries, different kinds of fields. Companies are also deploying IoT uh, products. So I'm not clear like which infrastructure. What do you mean by infrastructure? Because even the old traditional companies, we have to move forward to take in the IoT systems. Like even the, as I mentioned earlier, the traditional home are also getting converted right now to smart homes because it is quite, it makes life easier for the residents. So there is a transformation in the infrastructure also. So it is not mandatory that the old infrastructure should exist. The companies can change according to their needs. And cyber security related projects, you can check for different kinds of papers and publications on cyber security, the challenges we have, and there are lots of research being going on for cyber security. So you can check for research in cyber security because there are lots of openings. And there are lots of topics also open in different universities. So you can check for these kinds of areas, and also you can write to the professors, concerned professors, if you are interested to go ahead with the cybersecurity projects. Because right now we have the flexibility, and after COVID, we have the flexibility of working from home and working through remote access. So you can also check the NTU, NUS in Singapore. They have lots of research going on in cybersecurity, and also some universities in Europe. You can just randomly go through the top universities, and in terms of the cybersecurity, there are lots of work open for research.
Shall we wind up? Any queries from participants? Sneha?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing such a valuable and thoughtful information about research trends in IoT. It was very useful and informative. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to welcome Dr. A. Prakash, Professor, Department of MCA, to render the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to one and all present here. On behalf of Department of MCA, Hindustan College of Arts and Science, I thank the management of Hindustan College of Arts and Science and our Honorable Principal Dr. A. Purnasamy sir, Director A.V. Sendil Kumar sir, for allowing us to organize this program, and faculty members and research scholars for coordinating with us to organize this event. And I especially thank today's chief guest, Samuel Densing, for sharing the information about research trends in IoT. And also, I thank all the faculties and research scholars for the active participation in this faculty development program. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear participants, the feedback link was posted in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback link. The certificates will be posted to your registered email ID on Wednesday. Nega?
Sir,
Ah. Okay, ma'am, wind up the session on the information. Dear participants, any query about certificates? The certificates will be posted on Wednesday for your registered email ID. Do you have any doubt? Dear participants, research scholars, the certificates, the 5 days FDP certificates will be posted on your registered email ID on Wednesday. Already posted. Again, I will post. Feedback link already posted. Sir Densing sir, thank you very much for your nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir,
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, kindly give your mail ID on your chat box, sir, please.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Sir, also we are doing YouTube live channel also. Many participants ask some questions about AR, VR, and ask
Okay,
you
sir. Sure.
on full day workshop for AR, VR tool, sir.
Yes, sir. We can do it, sir.
Participants in YouTube live, sir.
Sure, sure. Okay, sir. Sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Marrynal, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your Lincoln ID. Will be posted on Wednesday on your registered email ID. Dear participants, certificates will be posted on Wednesday on your registered email ID. Any suggestion about the 5 days FDP program, dear participants? Ponmail, ma'am. Navneet Kumar, Murugeshan. You have any suggestions?
That's a splendid presentation, sir. Really, I got so much information because of your FTP program, sir, especially
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much to give this opportunity to me, sir.
Ma'am, you're from which college, ma'am?
Sir, Vivekananda Institute of Information and Management Studies, B School, sir.
Okay.
Vivekananda.
Oh, sure, ma'am.
Anna,
Tiruchang-
MCA department.
Tiruchengodu, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
very
sir.
good. Super, ma'am. Very good, ma'am. Sir, Navneet Kumar, sir. Navneet Kumar, sir. Bhaskaran, sir. Jyoti Prakash. Lalita, ma'am. Lakshmi Priya, ma'am. Suggestions, feedbacks about the 5 days FDP program. Thank you, Lakshmi Priya, ma'am. Thank you, Gusbu Patel, ma'am. Siva Ganesh Babu, sir. Give your feedback and suggestions about the last 5 days program.